Welcome to Students of Life, where healing ain't cute, but it's necessary.
Where growth gets uncomfortable, but staying stuck isn't an option.
We're not here to preach. We're here to process out loud in real time.
No titles, no masks, just truth, transformation, and a whole lot of accountability.
I'm Erica.
I'm Courtney, and we're all just students of life.
Class is in session. Are you tired of just consuming content and not actually changing? Then it's time to download our free ebook, 3 Principles of Strategic Living. It's not motivation, it's strategy. This short, powerful guide shows you how to take control of your time, your goals, and your growth by treating your life like a business. No fluff, just a framework that works. And when you're ready to go further, join our Students of Life Inner Circle. It's our private Facebook community for people who don't just want to grow, they want to execute. You'll get early access to episodes, exclusive Q&As, and real conversations with people leveling up in every area of life. Hit the link in the show notes or visit studentsoflifepodcast.com to grab your free ebook and join the Inner Circle today. Let's get strategic.
Welcome to the Students of Life podcast. I am your host, Courtney, and with me is my lovely wife, Erica.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I ask you how you doing every time we start this. Every time.
As you should.
Yes. How about this? I should say my lovely wife that loves to bow and love everything that I do.
Cut.
I think it's true, though.
I feel like we need to cut this shit and start take 2.
I think we're starting off very well. Come on, just agree with it and it'll give a good start to this show and a good example of how the ladies have to act. I think so.
I think your limiting beliefs are showing themselves. That's what the hell I think.
Look, since the last time we talked about it, I have none. I have overcome all of them. I am the epitome of greatness.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I don't even do this no more. Don't worry about it. Find you a new co-host.
Come on, you just gotta go with it.
Man. Oh no.
Come on, we're better than that.
You're not.
It's the truth though. Right?
No. What? No.
Yes, it is. Come on, the 1,000-yard stare. Come on now. You don't have to kill me. Don't have to kill me with your looks, with that stare. Come on now.
What Cap say? I can do this all day.
Well, since we don't have all day, we got to keep this going then, don't we? Mm-hmm. All right. So, what are we talking about today, sweetie?
Today, our episode is something different for us. We're talking about limiting beliefs and accountability in relationships. You know, we don't often discuss relationships on our podcast, but we talk about accountability almost every episode.
Yeah, every episode in some way it addresses it to a degree.
It does.
Even if that's not what the episode is about, it has a undertone of some form of accountability.
Yeah, always. Because, you know, the premise of our podcast is being better, like learning together, growing together, you know, becoming better than we were the day before. Transformation. And in doing that, the greatest thing you can do is to take accountability. But I have learned from talking to clients and just my friends, family in general, people do not like accountability.
Yeah. A lot of our issues, it's an ego thing for sure when we're talking about accountability. You know, when we try to hold people accountable, or when people have to hold themselves accountable. I ain't gonna say when we have to hold other people accountable. People have a struggle with holding themselves accountable because it's like an attack on their ego or their pride.
Absolutely.
And so people really don't like to have that discussion about what it really means to hold yourself accountable, because you can't face that you are doing something wrong. So I guess my question is, why do you think that people are really struggling with facing the fact that they're doing something wrong? Like, say for instance, for me, for example, is maybe I'm talking about it too soon, because I know at one point in this episode we're going to discuss it, but I say it now. I had a very hard issue at a point of our relationship saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that was something that I had to face. You didn't ever say anything to me about that, but that was something that I had to contend with because I asked myself that.
Yeah, and and I can tell you where that comes from, especially, with you not being able to say you were sorry. A lot of our accountability issues and being able to own our shit comes from our childhood, like youth, right? Like for you, for instance, since you brought it up, your parents never told you or your sister they were sorry.
But that was the cause of what we're discussing.
Exactly.
Not just overall, but like I say, I know that I was bringing it up a little bit earlier, but it was just something to set the tone for what we're discussing. And that's the reality is like around 28 when we was having our daughter, I had a huge issue with saying that I was sorry. But that was something I had to face, not because you said something, because I knew I was wrong. Mm-hmm. I knew I was wrong, and I had to say to myself, I was like, why in the hell do you have an issue with saying that you're sorry or that you apologize for doing something wrong, although you know that you've done it wrong, but you cannot say it? What is the issue? It took me a minute to really confront where they generated from, but my mother and father literally never said they were sorry to each other, and they never said they were sorry to me or my sister. That's the truth of it. And that wouldn't hit like a ton of bricks. And I still love my parents. They were still great. But it was something they were lacking along the way. And they never did that. And even after I addressed that, it took pretty much 2 years before I got comfortable doing that.
Well, I think, again, part of that is what happens, like in relationships as well, right? Mm-hmm. You can't say you're sorry to your spouse or your girlfriend. Hell, we can hurt our friends' feelings. And when we tell our friends that we're sorry, and we love them dearly. Most of us love our friends more than our significant other or our family, right? And I think that a lot of that just boils down to that, we sabotage ourselves because we hold on to old, outdated beliefs. And by old, outdated beliefs, I mean, the thing that we think is hurting someone else, in reality, that's just us hurting our own damn feelings, because we have things that we hold on to that we can't let go of, and we bring that with us, right? Like a good example would be, and outside of the, saying you're sorry, but being able to accept you hurt somebody's feelings. Because when you were younger, no one listened to you or heard what you had to say when your feelings were hurt. So now you've learned to suppress your feelings, and because you suppress yours, you may care, but not know how to accept that you care you hurt somebody else.
Yeah, that is. I mean, a lot of these issues that we face, whether you want to admit it or not, they all generated from some type of childhood issue or problem. But that goes into, I think we were discussing this in a last episode, people only see kids as kids. People never see kids as the people that they're going to become one day.
Yeah, of course.
And I know what we're talking about, but that one gets under my skin. That one's got under my skin for a very long time.
Well, but my thing is this, right? When you tell the child to stay in a child's place, be seen and not heard, that child grows up with that idea of that's what being an adult is, right? Or that's what being a human is. So you bring that be seen and not heard shit into a relationship. So now when conflict happens, you have no idea how to deal with it. You don't know what to do, because your whole life you've been taught to be seen and not heard. So now whenever your feelings are hurt or you feel some kind of way, you lash out in what seems like an angry manner. And you're probably not mad. You just have no fucking idea how to deal with your emotions or how to process them or how to work through them.
I'm thinking about this. I'll answer this one first. I have never seen in my life, youth, all the way up until like 20s, I have never seen anyone properly handle conflict, ever. So my question becomes, have you ever seen people properly handle conflict?
You mean in the moment?
In the moment or period?
No, not in the moment. But again, because we're not taught conflict resolution skills, right? Just like kids today aren't taught critical thinking. You're not taught these things. You're taught to suppress or either lash out. That's it. Like one or the other. That's like, think about it. You know, when you're younger, I know you and your sister didn't fight, right? But me and Zach did, right?
She was really mean sometimes. Hell with that. If you listen to this, I want you to know, I remember. Okay. You were mean sometimes. Not all the time. But we still had a good relationship. Let's go for it.
But like I was saying, but you know, as mean as Christy was, right? That goes back to, like, again, me and Zach used to fight all the time like cats and dogs. But like you said, I never saw positive conflict. And I know people are like, positive conflict, what is that? But there's a right and a wrong way to handle all things, right? And I never saw anybody handle conflict well. And, you know, in the terms of being able to sit down and actually have a conversation about something that happened. I didn't know about that until you and I were in our 30s. I mean, you know, we were together for a long time. But it wasn't until we grew up and we matured that we were able to say, hold on, wait a minute, there's a better way to do this.
Okay, so how do we define the terms?
That's a good question. You know, I don't think that I know. If I'm being quite honest with you, I'm not sure.
Okay. Let's give it a go. Like, if we say we define the terms, how do we define the terms of a good relationship? You know, like far as, you know, our limits and beliefs, accountability, you know, and the truth about what we do and how we navigate it. What are we doing? You know, just so people can get a grasp of it. Even if that means how we do it. Where did we begin? That you can remember.
Oh, we started probably like actually buckling down and working on the relationship probably around 2015, 2016. That's when you and I both were like, something's got to change. If we're going to make it to the end and make it to the end happily, something has to change here. And a lot of that came to, you know, like you say, limits and beliefs. You being unable to say you were sorry. And then me being unable to own the fact that I hurt your feelings, right? Or that I bothered you, or not bothered, but you know what I mean? Like that I did something that caused you some kind of pain or hurt or whatever. And with that, you know, and sitting down and having conversations, that's where the accountability comes in. It's being able to sit down and say, you know, Erica, you made me feel this way, and me being able to accept what I did.
Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know. I was just thinking about it, but accountability really does feel like punishment when it's tied to your identity. You know, it becomes who you are, you know, how we handle things. Before we began to work on it, who we were and how we handled it, that became our identity. It did. And so I don't like using the word trauma all the time. I really don't. And because it's an scapegoat sometimes, you know, with the terminology. It's overused. It's overused. It is. But our bad habits became our identity on how we handled moving forward with one another, and that didn't properly help us navigate it, you know. So whether we would have admitted it in that space or not, but right now, when I look back, both of us was playing victims with one another. You know, like I was a victim of you, or you were a victim of me, and I seen it with a lot of other people too. People play victims with one another just so they can get their point across. And the sad part is we define the terms, or the terms are defined sometimes by victimhood. Yeah, well, you know what, Courtney? Look, and that's look, you just spoke a word. The terms are sometimes defined by victimhood. Yep. And you know, as bad as it is to say, a lot of times in relationships, that's what people are looking for. People are looking for a way out. Right. And as you're looking for this way out, you start poking holes, or you start poking at somebody. You know, the person who's the victim is actually the fucking aggressor. Yeah.
And that's not talked about enough.
You know, it's like, we
I don't think I like the laugh.
like
Not that one.
Well, it's short and to the point, but it's like our way of opting out of growth. It's our way of opting out of not being better.
To be the victim, the victim.
Right. Because we don't want to face what we're doing. We're opting out of being better.
Yeah.
Because if we opt into being better than what we are, that means we have to face ourselves. I don't have to face Erica. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Courtney got to face him.
You have to look yourself in the mirror and say, this is my fault.
Yeah.
But again, right? That is why, most relationships, when they break, it's not like a form of betrayal or something like that. When a relationship breaks, it's simply because, like you just said, somebody won't look in the mirror and say, this part was my fault. Yeah. There's no ownership of the bullshit that you did.
And so what that means, what we've ended up doing, when we began to run our life like a business, coming together, doing the audit, and until you face the person in the mirror, it's going to be very difficult to come together and create a positive outcome of whatever it looks like down the line. It's going to be damn near impossible because you're going to always operate from victimhood, blaming each other, and so you can never work together cohesively to get to wherever the goal's supposed to be. Matter of fact, that goal probably won't even be defined.
You can't even see. Fuck that. You can't even imagine a goal post at that point, right?
Can't.
But again, this just picks back into what you're talking about. When you have two people who are not afraid to be accountable, there is no villain and there is no victim. Those titles go out the window.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you're both sitting down, not only looking in the mirror, but seeing one another, there is no point where you're saying, I don't know this person, or this person doesn't understand me. A lot of times it's not that people, quote unquote, don't understand or don't want to understand. It's that we don't communicate who we are well enough.
I think it was in the last episode. And I think I was saying something along the lines of, and I needed to clarify it, so I'm glad I have this moment to be able to do so. When I said, about untraditional relationships are failure,
People say that the non-traditional relationships are failure.
No, I said that for sure. Yeah, I said it, but I didn't define it. And what it is really chaos. So why is, what we define as untraditional today is a failure because no one ever defines it. Mm-hmm. So really what it is chaos. So with that, you have a lot of unaccountability, and the lack of unaccountability equals chaos, which equates to what we consider untraditional marriage, which is chaos. If you don't define the terms, it's whatever. And so you can never be on the same terms. So for us to have good relationships, that's what we have to do. We cannot operate, with a system that creates chaos. We just can't do that.
You talking about that, I just thought of a question. If someone sat you down and asked you, Courtney, how would you define a successful relationship in today's terms? Not like your grandparents, not like your parents. What does a successful relationship in 2025 look like? What does it take?
First, I have to be aware of me. That's the first thing. And what awareness is understanding who I am and how I operate, and understanding how I handle situations or even other people. Because if I don't understand me, then I can never properly navigate dealing with other people. Because you can't do that. When you don't know yourself, and I don't know you, the failure is imminent.
So when everyone's unknown.
Yeah, when everything is unknown. But that's kind of like in the Art of War with Sun Tzu. He's like, you got to know yourself and you got to know your enemy. If you know both, then winning is definitely probable.
Well, damn, is your wife your enemy?
No, but say, for instance, it's a person that you still got to contend with. You know what I'm saying? You got to contend with them. Or like, say, for instance, the other part of that is, if you only know yourself, then winning is half the battle. But if you know yourself and your enemy, then winning is pretty much imminent. It's going to come. And so with me and how we've ended up navigating things, I just say number one is you definitely got to be aware. You got to be aware of you, because if I can't do that, and I know communication is the next step to have a good relationship, then we'll never be able to communicate properly, because I don't know myself, because I can't even get out of my own damn way. If I can't get out of my own way, then that means I can never lead properly.
Bars.
I can't even do that.
Okay.
Because now I'm operating strictly out of selfishness, and you know how I think. I don't give a damn if you, just because you're a man, I'm speaking only for me as being a man. Just because I'm a man does not automatically make me a good leader.
Amen. Bars. Yes.
It don't make me a good leader. Say, for instance, if we was in a scenario where you was just a naturally better leader than I am, then you know what you got to do?
You got to shut up and listen.
You can kiss, just kiss it.
You don't like that?
No, I didn't like that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Wait, but you know what? I'm going to dap you up on that one, because that was a Courtney move. Shit, if you pull a Courtney move, I got you.
I be learning.
Yeah. And I think that's a myth that we've been living by for way too long. You know, that just because you're a man, you need to lead. Sometimes just because you're a man don't mean you're good at that.
Okay. So I
don't mean that.
Let me ask you a question, right? Because everything you just said, you and I discuss all the time, and we've told people the same thing. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. But you being a married man in a successful marriage, right? What if you had to give a single man, say some between 25 and 35, advice on how to navigate a relationship with a woman that, we'll say, one that has her shit together, just like he does, that has something to offer, right? What would accountability look like, and what advice would you give him?
No, man, you definitely put me on the spot with that one. I ain't been single in so damn long. I can't even imagine what it's like to do that.
I said from the perspective of a married man. Don't be trying to think about being single, sir. That ain't happening.
I'm not trying to think about being single, but it's difficult, because I want you to understand, I don't think that I can probably answer that one. And it's not that I don't want, I could give a better answer to that gentleman if I'm face to face with him. Mm-hmm. So I can give a longer spiel, because being single today is not what it's always been. It's not, but I asked you that. It's a modern approaching relationships today, in this modern time. It's crazy. It's crazy, and I don't know that I can properly answer that one right now. Well, I asked you that because someone actually inboxed me. Yeah. And asked me that question to ask you. Okay. It wasn't this episode, it was a while ago, and I was like, we don't talk about relationships, so I would ask him that. But I thought about it, we were talking about this. But so the guy, he listens to our podcast. He's 28 years old. And he seems, I don't know him personally, but he seems to be intelligent, right? Mm-hmm. And his question was, how does a man who has a successful marriage and family that loves him, all that stuff, how would you make it work? First off, if I'm not necessarily starting over from scratch, but coming at it with a eye of, I know what I want, right? The first thing I would do, I'm not going to try to make it work with someone who don't have it. Mm. First off, if you just don't have it, I'm not going to try and make it work. Mm. So the next thing would be, I'm going to find someone who automatically has the same mindset and the qualities that want to head in the same direction. If you don't have that, I'm not trying to make it work, because it's going to take too long. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's no one's job to actually try and coach someone along over years and take years away from my life and make my life harder. I don't think that any young man should do that. So the number one thing you need to do is align someone with the qualities that you seek out. So if you got a direction that you're trying to head, you need to align yourself with someone that is. So the number one key is this: alignment. Because that's just like with the ebook. The number one principle, one of the principles is not that, but it talks about it in there. But you have to be aligned. Because if we can't be aligned, we can't even head in the same direction, which means that you or I are going to have to coach somebody else along the way. And along that way, until we get aligned, we're going to battle our ass off. And I don't have that in me. So I would tell that young man, no, number one thing, if they don't have it, that ain't your job to coach someone along the way. The second thing, get aligned. Find someone who you're naturally aligned with, and your journey is going to be easier. This ain't about having making your journey longer and harder than what it has to be. That ain't your damn job. Your job is for it to be as easy as possible. You're going to always come across your challenges, but God damn it, don't throw one in your way that you don't need.
Okay. So here's the ugly part of that we don't often talk about. Or no, fuck that. We talk about it. We don't call it out enough, in my opinion. What about those limiting beliefs that we wear as shields? Well, that's just who I am.
No, that's
I've always been like this. That's all I've ever seen. So that's all I know to do. I am who I am. Why do you want to change me? I've been this way since you met me.
No, I think that I think that individual needs to go back and say, Mom and Daddy, why you do me like this? Why didn't y'all have it together? Why you teach me this?
So
step one on that one.
So most people aren't going to do that. That's not going to happen.
Auntie, uncle, if you had your mom and daddy or grandmama, whoever it is.
But you know what's funny about that though? What I have learned in being a coach is that once you're able to recognize these cycles, right, or as we call them, generational curses or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Once you can recognize them, you can name the root. Once you name the root, you stop repeating that cycle. But you have to be able, like you said, to hold a mirror to yourself and say, what is wrong with me? What is my role here? What damage have I caused? And if I cause damage, is it irreparable or can I fix it?
Yeah, it's always fixable. Always.
I don't know about always, Courtney.
Okay, I give you that. But the possibility of it being fixable is always there. But the older you get, this is where I come from. The older you get, it becomes more and more impossible to do so. As far as being irreparable, you just can't do that. After you get to a certain age, it gets closer and closer to being impossible. But it can be repaired earlier on.
Absolutely.
It can be.
When you're still malleable, when your brain can still accept the fact that I need to change to be better. So now, if you try to change in your 50s or 60s, it ain't going to happen. Just fuck it and just go ahead and roll over and die. Yeah. Because you got one foot in the grave, one on banana peel already.
Damn, one in the grave.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. That's...
Absolutely. Because if you're that old and you're just now deciding, hey, I need to change to be a better person, and you're almost 60, that means you lived the better part of 30 years being probably a terrible fucking person. Yeah. And you caused who knows how much damage and to who.
Correct. But the thing that we were discussing was that if somebody's supposed to make this change, what you have to be able to do first is just even identify. And that's what we're... The issue that we're really dealing with.
And that's where accountability comes in.
Yeah, it's accountability. Or say, for instance, we deal with people like within relationships and these marriages where, they've done wrong, but look, I'm just being honest about this one. This one gets under my
face
skin.
Looks so distressed right now.
It is. I hate when people use tears to manipulate.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you've done wrong, but you use tears to manipulate. Just because I did wrong and now I want to cry to get out of it. No, that one gets under my skin. That one gets under my skin. But that was a trait more of women more so than it is anything.
It used to be. And let me tell you something. It used to be.
Hold on, men do that?
Courtney?
What? Hold on.
The conversations I have with women, no, men are worse.
The what?
Not only will men cry, I have had multiple friends who have come to me and said, I can't leave him. And I'm like, bitch, why? Men have literally boo-hoo cried.
Why she gotta be that?
Because we're women, it's what we do. It's like, it's like one of those things where it's like, bitch. It's not like bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, I definitely get it. Yeah.
Okay, right.
It's our language. I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so it's like.
Black language.
Exactly. I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, AAVE all the way. Yeah. But.
Whatever that means.
But, it's like you have men who will go so far as to manipulate women with tears and then say, if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. Tell my kids I love them. Tell my mama I love her.
Hold on. And you've never told me this before?
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, for real?
Yes, Courtney, yes. You know what? We'll post this episode in our Facebook group. And shameless plug, we have a Facebook group called the Students of Life Inner Circle. But yes, like we'll post this, and look how many women will tell you that this shit has happened. It's happened. Absolutely. It happens every day. And then if a woman don't fall for that, then she's every kind of stupid bitch and dirty hoe. I never loved you anyway. And men take the cake with being emotional today, okay?
Man, I am dumbfounded.
Men take the cake.
Man.
With being overly emotional. And mind you, y'all know I'm a devil's advocate. It's not all men. But there are enough of those that are really fucking ruining women. Just like you have women out here who she might not cry, but she gonna fucking stick you with her right like she Layla Ali. Nigga, the roles have reversed.
Yeah.
Like you got women out here who are beating men. It's not funny, but are beating men. They're not crying. They're throwing fists.
No, homegirl finna get that right. You okay?
I mean, like for real. Like it's we're laughing about it, but this shit is so toxic and it's so unsafe. But that's what single people today are contending with. And that's something that you and we cannot relate to it. But Courtney, I have clients, like actually one of my clients, and you know her as well. She continued with that shit.
I want you to know, I gotta get my bearings back because I'm actually disturbed by that one.
You should be because it's fucked up.
Yeah, I'm kind of disturbed by that one.
Yeah, but there are men who will, shed tears today because, wow. Baby, I'm sorry. Baby, I love you. Please don't leave me. Courtney, when I say boohoo cry, I mean like wailing crying, okay? Like there's no accountability here. Everything is her fault. Meanwhile, he's doing all of this because she caught him cheating. Or she caught him with someone else in her car. But he refuses to own the fact that he is the freaking villain in this story. So instead, he manipulates.
Okay, so why do you think the hardest part in a relationship is to say I was wrong?
I don't think this is just a relationship. I think that this is with life, period. That's a rabbit hole kind of question, right? But I do think that overall, people have an issue saying they were wrong in relationships because, again, it requires you to own your wrongdoing, to take accountability. And now once you say I was wrong, now you're on the hook for fixing that shit because now you know you were wrong. So now your accountability becomes not just saying, oh, I'm sorry I was wrong. It's okay, you were wrong. Now fix it. It's the work. It's the work. I honestly believe that with everything in me, I believe that it's the work. People don't want to do the work. So it's easier to play a victim than it is to be accountable for your bullshit.
I think that it's difficult to do the work because I think life, one, is extremely busy.
Life is busy.
It's extremely busy, and to properly handle, being in someone else's life, especially if you're not doing it right, that takes a lot of not just work on your end, but research on how to properly do it.
Or you can skip all that and just do what I always say and go to therapy.
I don't think therapy fixes that. I think it's the beginning. Don't get it twisted. It's the beginning, but it's definitely not. But I don't believe that it fixes relationship issues. I don't believe that. Okay, so here we go. So whenever you sit down, right, and you have conversations, being able to admit you were wrong, then that shifts the blame, right? Or it shifts the conversation from wanting to be right all the time to being real. And with being real with your partner, there's a part to that I think people don't understand, and that is intimacy. Intimacy deepens with self-awareness. Being able to say, I did this to you. Let me make this right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
I do.
And when you're able to say, I mean, I've told you that before, like, Courtney, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do X, Y, and Z, and I had no idea it would affect you that way. When you're able to sit down and have those open, honest, intimate conversations, like, I need y'all to understand, intimacy is not always you touching me touching you, us being bodies intertwined.
Connection.
It's nothing more than a real connection. That's all intimacy is. But how can you have that connection if you can't even sit down and have a real conversation?
And this is about this with what you're talking about. And it is to continue what you're saying. But I'm going to do it with a question. How do people stop weaponizing their pain to get over on people to get to what you're discussing? Because people weaponize their pain a whole lot. So
what you're asking me is, how do we stop manipulating?
It's how we... Correct. I mean,
because that's what it is.
It is. It is.
Especially when you're aware that you're manipulating someone to get what you want, and that's wrong.
It is, but to get to what you're talking about, we have to stop weaponizing pain.
I agree with you.
You got to stop weaponizing your pain, or because it's what you said earlier. This is just the way I am. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I am who I am.
I am who I am. Or this happened to me when I was younger. And it's weaponizing your pain just to continue on the path that you're on.
Those bad behaviors and negative outcomes.
So what would be a possible step to stop weaponizing your pain?
Honestly, being with somebody that will call that shit out. If I'm like dead serious, I see how you're looking at me. But if you don't want to go to therapy and you don't want to figure out what it is that leads you in that direction, if you have a partner, Courtney, who will call you out on your bullshit, ask your friends. He or she told me that I do blah, blah, blah. Do I do that? If you have the right friend group around you, they're going to tell you, you fucked up. I'm laughing only because for those of you who don't know, the majority of my friend group are men, right? So when you and I have issues and you tell me, go ask your best friend, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not asking him shit. At that point, when it comes to the no, I'm not asking him shit, it's because I know you're right. I don't need you to be right twice, right? Because he ain't gonna let up.
Like, look, I just said in that group that, based on this last question you asked, look, I'm right like 90% of the time.
You are full of shit 90% of the time. That's what you are.
About a good 90. You know what I'm saying?
That's what you are. But to answer your question though, seriously, you need a partner who will call you out, like not disrespectfully, not in a way that will hurt you or make you feel condemned anyway, but somebody who can sit you down and say, Courtney, look, the shit you're doing right now is not cool. The way you've been acting for the past month, past 2 months, this past 6 months off and on is not cool. And then with that, they have to ask you questions. What happened? What's going on? Where are you at? How are you feeling? Is it me or is it something outside? If it's in the house, let's talk about it. We can fix that. If it's outside, let's figure out what's happening outside that has you bringing it home, because that's not your norm.
And that just brings it back to what you was really originally saying. And that was about, deepening intimacy.
Yes.
That's what it is. We need to understand having those types of conversations, being able to identify. Looking at this right here. When I said weaponizing pain, that's identifying, holding something, like a past event into bringing it to the present. Mm-hmm. To get your way. Mm-hmm. Being able to identify that. And the moment that you can identify that, now we can deepen our intimacy. And intimacy meaning a deeper connection with you and I, mm-hmm. So we can get past this. So say, for instance, until you can say, you know what, identify weaponizing your pain or weaponizing the past against somebody, we can't deepen our connection because we cannot properly talk to one another.
And this is something else. You're absolutely right. And I think, speaking of intimacy and accountability, what people don't understand is another way to build intimacy is giving your partner, male or female, y'all, look, I know there are a lot of women that listen to us. Men are human.
37% of y'all.
Men are human. Men have feelings. They may not go about expressing them properly, but the feelings are there, right? And men haven't been taught to process that shit well. But when we talk about intimacy, it's not one-sided. I don't want anybody to walk away from this episode and be like, oh, Erica and Courtney said he needs to cater to me like this. Hell no. No. That's not what we're doing here.
We don't do that here.
What I'm saying is, when both of you are owning your thing, right, your relationship now becomes a safe space. It's no longer a battlefield. And now you are both emotionally safe. And in being emotionally safe, that's going to build intimacy in ways that you honestly would never have thought about. So, with that, it'll also stop those one-sided arguments where you have somebody, always at your neck about something that has you feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough. Maybe I shouldn't be here. Instead of someone barking at you or you having a battle of the egos, now you're able to sit down and discuss and give each other a safe space to just be.
But you just said one-sided though. And that's one of the things that create bad relationships anyway. If it's one-sided, especially like one-sided accountability.
Yes.
And one-sided accountability creates a horrible relationship and it don't work. If I'm accountable and you're not, that's going to create a problem because we have a conflict within a relationship now. And I'm holding myself accountable for saying I'm wrong, but you still can't. Look, our episode is not long enough to really go into this, but it's not going to create a good relationship long term, and it's not going to last.
Well, no, accountability.
That's not the person who's accountable. That's not their job to make it work.
Correct.
Look, I want you to understand this. There's a time frame on that. Yeah. I'm not saying give up, but 3 strikes you out. Okay?
Okay, batter.
Yeah, you're damn right. Look, I work within systems, structures, and frameworks. That's what I do. And you can only do that so long because it just naturally doesn't work.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Speaking of one-sided accountability, I know you've heard it before. You have male friends, you have female friends, but you probably hear it more from your male friends. Courtney's X, Y, and Z happened, and I ain't mean to hurt her. Or, Courtney, I didn't mean to do this to piss him off, right? But that does not mean that you didn't.
That is correct.
That does not mean that you did not cause harm to someone in some way. So if someone has the ability to come to you and talk to you and say, you hurt me, or the way you acted doesn't sit well with me, you need to be grown enough to sit your ass down and talk to them.
The worst thing I've seen in scenarios like that.
What?
Is, say, for instance, you come to me, you say, I'm hurt because you did X, Y, Z. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm hurt by you because you brush your hair backwards. I don't know.
I would be hurt by that if you had hair to brush
If I had hair, correct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's imaginary hair.
Okay. Long, luscious locks. I got you.
But I got some stubble. You know what I'm saying? So it might, it's all right. So we'll go from there.
Okay.
But the entire issue is this right here. Being able to say that I did something wrong. And you coming to me, you sit down and you say that I did it wrong. My number one thing is to listen to you and not make it about me. Mm-hmm. And so the problem is this, I've seen it too much. I've seen it for years.
Yeah.
I bring you an issue, but I bring you the issue or you bring me the issue. Whoever brings the issue, the opposite person makes it about them.
Yeah, now your issue is about me.
Now it's about me. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my damn life.
Okay, so
I'm getting pissed off saying it.
So that sounds like it's a real thing where now I'm weaponizing your pain and using your pain against you to make you feel bad.
Correct.
To manipulate you in some way. Yes. And say, okay, I hear you telling me this, but what about me?
Yes.
That's fucking deflection 101.
Yeah. Do you remember when you did blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
Bringing up the past.
Yeah. But that is why you and I have a rule in our house. The past can only be used for context.
Context or two. The second one is for patterns. Say, for instance, the past, old patterns are still showing up today.
Or coming back.
Or coming back.
Yeah.
That's the only way. There's only two reasons why. We don't have three. Context.
Or to recognize old patterns.
Recognize old patterns that hadn't been broken today. That's it.
Yes.
We do not bring that shit up no other way.
No, we talk about that shit, and once it's talked about, it's aired out. If apologies need to be made, they're made. Behaviors for us, I can say this. You and I are really good about changing the behavior that caused us to cause some kind of harm to one another, whether it's pissing you off or hurting feelings.
Yes.
We are very good about sitting down, talking about it, and saying, you know what, I apologize. I'll work on that. And it's not, sometimes it's instantaneous. You know,
it never
when
is.
I don't know, because you be petty as hell, and when you be on a petty train for too long. Yeah, that face. I wish they could see your face right now.
Really?
I wish they could see your face right now.
Is that where we heading with this one?
Courtney, our listeners know, based off of every single introduction, they know how petty you are. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. They don't know how your openings can go on for minutes.
Hold on. Tip of the iceberg. Icebergs aren't even real.
What are they then?
They don't exist.
Said who?
They think they see something that's not there. So that's how it is.
Is this your 90% being right here?
Definitely.
I need you to apologize for that later. you doing too much.
Shit ain't even real. Yeah, you talking about some iceberg.
So dinosaurs not real? Icebergs not real?
Look, I ain't never heard of them.
Mountains don't exist?
Those fossils, they're just like good drawings.
Oh, really?
That's it.
Made out of calcium.
Formations.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just formations underneath the surface of the earth. That's it. Just formations.
Okay.
Unnatural formations. That's all they are.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And where does this belief come from, Courtney? Courtney. So you can't take yourself seriously. So you got tears in your eyes, really? So you know that you are that full of shit. You know that.
Look, you threw me off.
No, you threw everyone off with that bullshit.
You threw me off, Erica. You need to stop this.
I will never stop.
Yeah, you
can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, you got to stop this.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Oh.
That's just funny though. But seriously though. Again, all this feeds back to accountability and intimacy, right?
Yeah.
If you want intimacy in your relationship, you have to have accountability. And accountability, again, Courtney has said it, and I will say it again, cannot be one-sided. And that's not even from a standpoint of, oh, well, that's not fair. That's just not right. Because if you have one person who is growing by leaps and bounds consistently, and your partner is not growing, leave them. Divorce them.
We said that before, though.
Divorce them.
Yeah, I know that I said previously in a previous episode, kind of regarding this, we're not saying, the moment it's not working, hey, it's over with. But
no.
if it's showing a reoccurring pattern of the individual not changing or holding themselves accountable, then you need to be able to get ready to make a transition away from that relationship. You just have to, because it's not going in a positive direction. It may not ever. The relationship can't be one-sided like that. And
it shouldn't be one-sided.
It shouldn't.
So here's my question for you. It's not the end, but I want to plug it in here real quick. If there is, we'll just say 3 takeaways from being together for 22 years. What are 3 main takeaways from our time together that you could give to other people? Like what 3 main takeaways and things that have worked, things that are tried and true, and this shit works like the back of your hand. You'd bet the house on it.
You kind of threw me on the spot, but I'll do my best. And I might not be able to get through all 3, but I'll start off with this one right here. And that's, letting go of tradition. It's letting go of tradition or what we believe worked because it was the only example that we had to live by. and it gets under my skin now because we love the we love the framework that we're taught or that we're born into more so than we love the person that we're with.
Oh, come on. Yes.
And that's my number one issue. And once we redefine that and understanding that we cared more about the framework of what we believe would work versus what actually works, it changed a lot. And so what that would mean is this right here. So say, for instance, within these frameworks that we have, of marriage, if you ask me, there are definitely, systems of predictability. Mm-hmm. So if I can't predict how and what you would do or how you see, then that limits my control over you. And so we love the framework and we fell in love with the framework. So say, for instance, somebody steps outside the framework. You know what we end up doing? We judge, we criticize, and we just give them hell for it, for being better outside the framework. Because we end up saying, you know what? I don't know why you do it like that.
Mm-hmm. I would never do it like that.
I would never do it like that. That shit just don't make sense. That shit's so stupid.
That shit dumb as hell.
Even if it works. Mm-hmm. So we love the framework, the principles within the framework, and then the rules that we operate by within the framework.
Okay, let me stop you right there real quick, because the rules within the framework, we love them and we hold on to them. At the same damn time, we break them. We don't stick to them.
Yes, that is correct. We do.
What's the point of loving the framework then if you don't adhere to the goddamn framework?
I don't know exactly how to describe it. Let's put it like this. All right, Erica. This is what it's. Let's put it like it's the framework versus biology. Mm-hmm. This is really what it comes down to. It's always framework versus biology. So say, for instance, the framework say we need to operate like this, but the biologist says that, you know what we're really dealing with is a human experience. Mm-hmm. You know what? We're at the end of the day, we still have things on our mind. We still have desires. We still have all those things that happen within us, though the need for novelty, or novelty meaning the thing, things just happen to be new. Mm-hmm. We crave those things. As a human, you just naturally crave those. But the framework don't do that. The framework says, you know what? You need to operate like this. And if anybody steps outside of this, you criticize, you judge, and you give them hell for it, so we can bring them back in, draw them back in, just so we can control them, so it can be more predictable.
I feel like you have a Matrix reference to go with this.
I do.
You gonna tell the people?
I don't have to tell them. I let them listen to it their damn self.
Oh, you got it queued up.
Yeah, just in case, because I didn't know if we was gonna head here.
Well,
I don't know.
By all means,
because this episode this is us winging it. This is our winging it episode.
Go ahead, Neo.
All right.
Neo, that system is our enemy. When you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. Have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was.
Is that right?
A lot of us are looking at the woman in the red dress, huh?
Oh, definitely. If you look at the woman in the red dress, you know what happens? Hey, you come back over here. I'm going to judge you, criticize you, because you shouldn't look at the woman in the red dress. That woman she don't even look good.
Really?
That's what happens. You can't even say somebody look good without saying that you did something wrong.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so the whole purpose of that right there is to say what Morpheus was talking about was people operating within the framework.
Yeah. Being pretty much a cog in the machine, a part of the system.
That is correct.
And not being able to, I'm sure most of you guys have seen The Matrix by now. It's a wonderful trilogy, but not being able to unplug, because once you're unplugged, you can't go back.
You can't go
because
back.
You see life differently. You no longer fit in this galaxy or this framework or this system, whatever you want to name it. You don't fit. Let's
put it like this. It don't work. Look, it might work for some people. But as things evolve, it just doesn't work anymore. And so the second thing, outside of us operating within the framework, it was definitely our communication. It was learning how to properly communicate with the person that sits across from you.
Yeah.
Or say, for instance, the other part, to that, which would come before that is learn how to talk to yourself. Love yourself. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to work with you. Learn how to talk to you. Because if I talk to myself bad, the question becomes, how can I ever talk good to you?
Or if I can't care about or love myself, how can I love you? I
can't.
I don't know what love looks like.
Yeah. So do I have 3? I'm pretty sure I got 3, but those are my those 2.
I want to piggyback off of that, the communication one, because a lot of people in relationships seem to forget your communication style probably does not equate to that of your significant other, your partner.
No.
So the way that you understand something does not mean they will understand it, because our early relationship, the beginning of our marriage, that was our greatest issue. It wasn't that we couldn't get along. It was that our communication styles were so different in the way we comprehended things. Whereas like they weren't even in the same book. They were completely different freaking books. And not being able to adequately communicate caused us a lot of, it's not funny, but a lot of issues.
It did.
And something as simple as communication is often overlooked in relationships. It's we talk, okay, but who's listening?
I would say and within that, we need to understand that confrontation is a big part of getting to an end result.
Confrontation and conflict is not always a bad thing.
It's not always a bad thing. It's not. Sometimes it's needed to get to an end result, but depending on the pages that you own, man, that shit can be damn near impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it can.
Because, as if Blade said, some other lovers always trying to ice skate uphill. Yeah, we was definitely ice skating uphill at one point.
Man, look. It was ice skating uphill in bare feet.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Yeah.
But again, there's beauty in there, right? Because in doing that, we learned a lot about each other and ourselves. And it's very rare that we have communication issues.
But you want to know something? Without the confrontation, we wouldn't have learned each other.
We would not have. Because during that time in our life, we understood conflict and confrontation.
But we had to understand, but we learned that along the way. Mm-hmm. That was just part of it, But you had to be aware of that. That's what you were trying to seek out in that process. I need to understand the person that's on the other side of the table. In this case, it's literal, because you're literal on the other side of the table right now.
You always do too much.
Yeah,
You had to paint a picture, didn't you?
I did.
They need to know that, didn't they? So they can understand our setup until we do videos.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I am the Leonardo in this today's time. I am, without a doubt.
Oh, we're 90% right, and now you're Leonardo.
Oh, yeah.
Shit is getting very deep in this podcast.
Every podcast. What the hell are you talking about?
And in the words of my papa, shit is getting deep, and I don't have my waiters. But I will say, I hope that, there are things that you all take from this podcast. And this has been, in my opinion, a great conversation.
It has.
But I do have some tips for you guys that are important, right? Ask yourself, why do I believe what I believe about relationships? Where did these thoughts or ideals for relationships come from? What are your triggers? Sit with yourself. Figure out what makes you angry and realize it's not that person. It's you. Listen to understand. Stop talking so damn much. When someone is talking, listen for comprehension and understanding, not to reply. And treat your spouse as a community. Your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your significant other, whoever you're with. Treat them as a communal space where you actually want to be.
And in closing with this one right here, the last thing that was discussed that I talked about is about frameworks and how we see or only love to operate within the framework, and we don't like to operate outside of it. Stop loving the person that you're with only within the framework that you're in unless it actually works for you.
Stop loving with limits.
Yeah, stop loving with those limits. Stop loving with tradition. Stop loving with that. You don't have to lead with that. If things work outside of the tradition, it's okay.
It's okay.
You have to define that.
It's okay to redefine the rules.
It's okay to redefine the rules. It is. And no one to define those terms outside of you. So that's what this is about. So everyone, I want you to know that within this episode, well, not just this episode, but Erica and I have a community on Facebook that we all want you to join so we can continue these conversations and to help you transform or develop further so we can all grow together. And also, we have a new ebook out, and you can go to studentsoflife.com, studentsoflifepodcast.com, and download the ebook. It's right there on the first page. Okay. So we thank you for listening to the Students of Life podcast. Live and learn.
Life is a lesson.
Life is a lesson.
Growth is hard, especially when you're doing it alone. That's why we created the Students of Life Inner Circle. It's not just a Facebook group. It's a community of people who believe in execution over excuses. Inside, we share exclusive content, behind-the-scene drops, weekly challenges, and real conversation about leveling up your life. If you're tired of surface-level advice and want to grow alongside people who are actually doing the work, this is your space. Request access using the link in the show notes. We'll see you inside.